So hello everybody, we're really excited to welcome you to our second summer 2020 student summer success webinar organized by the School of Business and Media. Everybody who's attending today is hopefully is a student coming in September. So we're really excited then that you're here to hear about how you can be technologically prepared and bring your own device. So this is the topic of the session today. Before we start, I want to acknowledge the beautiful territories of the Tsleil-Waututh Nation, Squamish, and Musqueam Nation on which the BCIT campuses are located on. So very fortunate to work on such beautiful territories. My name is Caroline Despatie. I'm the Associate Dean for Business Administration, School of Business and Media, and along with Natalie Anderson, an intern with the school, we will be kind of your host today or help things move along throughout the session. When we let you know, you can post questions on the Q&A. So we'll ask your facilitator is Phil Raymer. He will let you know if you have question when we can post you, but we ask you to use the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen here to post a question. And Natalie and I will be monitoring these questions. This session is part of an 8-part webinar series, which we hope will assist you as much as possible to get you better prepared for September. Our Monday sessions, which you're attending today, are mostly for full-time students, and our Tuesday session for part-time students. And again, this is number 2 of 8. Your facilitator today is Phil Raymer. Phil's the Associate Dean for Operations Management Department in the School of Business and Media at BCIT. Phil has been with our school for 5 years now and Associate Dean for 2 years, and he oversees a very, very busy department. Today, he'll provide an overview on the technology and equipment used in the school and what you'll need in terms of technology when you arrive in September. I will remind you at the end, but our next session next week is we're going to talk about the online learning environment, what you can expect and how you can prepare for that as well. So I think I'm going to leave it at that for now. I'd like to pass the microphone on to Phil Raymer. And again, if you'd like to engage in our Q&A at the bottom, Phil will let you know when's a good time to ask questions, and he'll let you know and monitor that. And then I'm going to leave it at that. So Phil, take it away.
Okay, thank you very much, Carolyn, and thank you, Carolyn and Natalie, for your support during this webinar. Hello, everybody, and welcome to BCIT. I hope to provide a lot of information to you. Let's just have a quick look at the agenda. So first of all, we've been through the intro. I'm going to give you a quick overview of technology used at BCIT. We'll go through the BYOD specifications and the other related devices. And then I'm going to walk you through connecting to BCIT systems. We'll have questions at the BYOD stage and also at the end. And then we'll finish up with some closing comments. So let's get going. So this presentation, I want to give you a heads up. First of all the information provided and the links that you're going to see to all the web pages, they'll be provided in a document that will be posted on the webinar page. And that link I'll show you at the end. So I expect to have that in there tomorrow. And you'll be able to go there, download it, and go to all the places that I'm going to walk you through today. So I think you'll find that helpful. Okay, moving on. So overview of technology. So I think pretty much most of the programs, all but 4 is what I'm aware of at this point in time, will be operating online through the fall term. We don't have a decision yet on winter, so that will come later on. But you're going to be working from home or wherever you are and working through the internet to access the systems at BCIT. So in this little sketch here, we've got your student computer at your home through the internet to BCIT. You're going to connect through the various servers at BCIT. I'm also showing a wireless access point that is only on campus. So I'm just doing that to give you a heads up for when you do actually get to campus. There will be wireless access points all over the campus that you can access the system. So even when you get to campus, you're going to need to bring your computer and in order to carry on. So from home, you'll be able to use MS Office 2019 or 365. If you already have a computer with one of those installed, you'll be fine. You do need a reliable internet connection. Recommend a high-speed connection so that when you get into meetings online, there's no problems with the video and audio and so forth that you get with a slower connection. When you, over on the right side over here, when you connect to the various systems at BCIT, you'll be connecting to My BCIT, getting your student schedules, looking at instructor schedules, the various web pages. There's other applications like ShareFile Learning Hub, Workspace, and accessing other information technology services. And we're going to go through all of that after the BYOD. So that's just a quick overview of the systems. So let's move on to the next page. The BYOD specs, you would have received an email which would have had this link in it to the BYOD document, bring your own device. And all I've done in the next few slides is just copy and paste to show you the specs and do a quick walkthrough. So what we're looking for here is you need a computer. I would recommend a laptop with a minimum 13-inch screen. You want to run Windows 10. You can run Mac OS. I know there's various programs that are more partial to the Mac operating system versus Windows, and that's fine. Processor, you can see the recommendation there, an i5 or 7. You need at least 8 gigs of RAM. At least 128 gigabyte solid state drive is recommended. Wireless, you need to meet the wireless, for higher speed, you need to get up to wireless N or AC. And if you can get the 2x2 wireless option, that is even faster and better for data transfer. And you would find an advantage to that even when you get to campus. So you might want to think about that. Webcam, you really need a webcam. You'll be in all kinds of meetings with your instructors, and they will want to have a look at you, see your face, and have you join the meeting, and as well as with your classmates. Web browsers, you want to use Chrome primarily, but Safari and Firefox, of course, for Mac and other are also usable. Bring your power cord, of course, don't forget that. You need at least a 2-hour battery life. You know, when we get to the classroom, you will have limited access to power outlets, and so you want to make sure you have enough power. Access to a printer. You definitely will need to print some documents at some point when you get to class. While we're online, you won't necessarily need to print documents. You may find that useful as you're working at home. So something to think about there. For your computer, a touchscreen option is recommended with a stylus. So if you have if you're thinking about a device like a Microsoft Surface, which you can get the Surface Pen and use the touchscreen to draw or sign or so forth, you may find that really useful. And if you can do it, I would recommend that. Other notes here, application software, I'm gonna show you where to get at the Microsoft Office 365, but that is provided free of charge to you from BCIT. So don't go buy it. It'll be downloadable. You can install it locally on your machine and you'll be all set up. Number 2, there at the bottom about Windows or a Mac OS. We recommend Windows. You may have some challenges with the Mac OS, particularly if your instructor is working in Windows. They may not be able to provide you the technical support, not that they are technical support anyway for computers, but you may have a few challenges with using the software, and it's even more challenging if your instructor is not familiar with the Mac operating environment. The BCIT IT department does not support or troubleshoot Mac computers, so that's another challenge for you. However, you can run Windows software on a Mac. I've done it with my own at home. Would recommend you use software like Parallels Desktop so you can run it relatively seamlessly. However, it's another piece of software that you have to install on your machine and make sure it's working, and that can be challenging. I found that challenging at times at home myself. And you really need to keep that Parallels Desktop software up to date. If it gets a few years old, it can be a problem. Okay, next slide. Printer. So I mentioned a printer before, but if you're going to get a printer, get one with a scanner, and you need to be able to provide a PDF. So if you're scanning any documents, you're going to want to scan them into a PDF file. So make sure your printer scanner, your multifunction device, whatever it is capable of doing a PDF file. So you need to research that a little bit. When you're submitting your work to your instructors, you will be submitting that typically to the Learning Hub, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. And you don't want to submit like a JPEG, like take a photo and then take the photo file and upload that. It takes up a lot of space rather than just a PDF file. So that's why we're recommending PDF. Optional items, a monitor, so a second monitor. So the way I'm set up at home here is I've got a second monitor, and I find that extremely useful, especially if you do have just a 13-inch screen on your laptop. You'll find that second monitor very helpful to put up another document or documents to review as you go through. A tablet, you may find that really handy, like an iPad or an Android device. Great for ebooks. I use that personally myself, and I find it very helpful that I can just pull out a tablet separately from my main computer to read my ebooks. You know, pretty much most of the courses I think that you'll be involved in will have ebook as an option, and if you have a choice and the budget, get a tablet and put the books on a ebooks on a tablet rather than the hard copies. Very easy to work with. Headset and microphone, that's pretty much a must-have as you get into your classes and work with other students. You really need one with good quality microphone and sound. I really strongly recommend you use the microphone and speakers on your computer. It's really difficult for people on the other end to really hear you properly. So that's why you want to get a headset. And they're not that expensive. You can get something decent for under 50 bucks. Should note here on digital arts, media and design, and broadcast and media communications, they've got specific requirements on their program pages. And I'm going to flip over to one program page now and just share that with you, just to show you what I'm talking about here. So now you should see a web page, digital design and development, and I'm actually on the costs and supplies page, and this is where you'll see specific requirements for that program or programs, and you're only going to find specific requirements in the digital arts area and broadcast. The other program areas, like in my department, OpMan for example, the BYOD specs we just looked at are sufficient. Okay, and if you're really not clear on what you need for your program, you can email your program area, specifically your program head, and contact them for any additional answers on that one. Okay, so that's that example. I'm just going to switch back to my presentation here, one sec. But if you have questions, we're just going to pause right now and give you an opportunity to ask any questions about these specs.
The quiet bunch, Phil, no questions.
No questions, wow.
Yeah, and yeah, so anyway, we'll keep on monitoring, but if you guys have anything, just go ahead, put them in the Q&A.
Okay. All right, so in a moment, I'll carry on with the rest of the presentation and we'll give you another opportunity for questions right at the end.
Oh, there is,
Will I share my PowerPoint? So I don't think I need to, because everything that's in the PowerPoint will be in the, I'll put a PDF up on the web page where the link to this webinar is found. Okay, and the recording will also go there. So this recording will be posted there by tomorrow, I expect. I think that's how quick we can get that to happen. Okay, and Carolyn just put up a link in the question and answer. So that's, you can actually copy that down to your computer if you like. You're welcome, Ken. Any other questions? Okay, what are there any specific requirements for the television and video production course? I'm not familiar with that course specifically, but if you go to the program page, that example I was showing for digital design and development, if you go to that program page for broadcast, television and video, and then go to the cost and supplies navigation link on the right side, it will show you if there's any specific requirements. Okay, so that one's done. And I'll just get rid of that one. What file format do textbook ebooks come in? Good question. From my own experience, I've found various formats. Some you can get at like Kobo or Amazon, that kind of thing. Others, and also, what's the other name? I'm trying to think. Vital Source is one that's probably more focused on textbooks in higher ed. So that's one that you'll look at. Now, exact file formats, I'm not sure. I know some are PDF as well, and there's special readers. Typically, they all have a special reader app, like for a computer or tablet device. Okay. Just clean up the answers here. Marketing course. I'm not familiar with the specific requirements for the marketing course. So again, you need to go to the program page and go to the cost and supplies. I don't think you're going to find anything for marketing, anything specific. Okay. Do you need a microphone like the one I'm using? No, there's other options, but I would recommend a headset type just because it gets the microphone right in front of your mouth, and the audio quality is just that much better for the people on the other end listening. Okay, I have Veronica's question. I had previously asked my instructor about what kind of device to buy. He said Mac. Now I have a Mac. Do people ever buy both? Television and video production. I don't know if they buy both. Don't really have an answer for you there.
I feel like, yeah, sorry, I'm gonna try. I just put the link to the program that you did page for that student.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, thank you for that. Okay. What's the most common laptop for accounting students? I need to buy a laptop, but there are many different brands. Any specific brand that BCIT recommends for business students? We don't have a specific brand recommendation. And that's why we provided the general specifications that, that we've just gone through. BCIT in general, we use Lenovo primarily. That's our big one that we use. And Lenovo makes various types, but we'll meet those specs, so no problem. So you can have a look at those devices. Okay, Amir asks about how can we download Office 365. We're going to go there in a few minutes, so just bear with me. Levi, program called System Administration for Mac and Digital Design and Development. In this case, students who take the course need a Mac computer, right? Not sure. that's a program specific question, so I encourage you to reach out to the program area to really get clarity on that one. Okay, you're in D3. The cost and supplies doesn't really specify anything about textbooks or supplies. Right, so the textbooks will be specified as well as any supplies by your instructors as you begin the courses. So when the courses open up in Learning Hub, you'll be able to get that information directly in there from your instructor. Okay, looks like that covers all of the questions. One more. Okay, recently Adobe and some other companies allowed at-home access to their software. I'm not sure how long the grace period will last. I can tell you it will last till August 14th. I just spoke to IT this morning, and that's the latest information we have. But in the event that the companies start restricting and charging for their software again, will the student be responsible for access to these applications, or is BCIT to provide this to the students? I'm specifically referring to the software found in the editing labs and even in the APOD, and excluding the applications that were supposed to be the student's responsibility. So I don't know. In fact, IT doesn't know what our agreement is going to be with Adobe. So I think the answer is stay tuned and reach out to the program area. I don't know how soon we're going to get an answer. I suspect it will be in early August. So I think around that time frame would be a good time to reach out to the program area to get that answer. Okay. Any other questions before we move forward? I see one in chat actually from Patrick. Any other benefits for tablets? You know what? It does give you another device. You can, I'm an iPad user. I find it really helpful to do quick checking on email. You don't have to power up your machine. Sometimes it takes a few minutes to power up your computer and so forth. Whereas with a tablet, it's pretty much instant and away you go. You will also be able to use the tablet with the browser to access the various things at BCIT. So you could use it to check your BCIT email. You could use it to look at web pages, of course, and access other software at BCIT. Okay, that's all I got on that one for you. Okay, one more question here. Can you recommend specifications for a good monitor for television and video production? I can't personally, I'm sorry, because I'm not familiar enough with the use of that software. But again, I would reach out to the program area and look at those cost and supply pages. I'm not oh, here we go. So for example, in digital design and development, they actually specify a monitor that has 1920 by 1080 or better resolution. Resolution is one thing, but size is another, of course. You probably want something at least 22 inches, but I would advise you to reach out to the program area and just check with them to see what they recommend. Okay. All right, so I'm going to move forward with the presentation, and we'll still give you an opportunity to ask any questions at the end on any of the content today. Okay, so moving on, connecting to BCIT systems. So again, I mentioned at the beginning, there'll be a document posted by, I estimate tomorrow, that'll have all this information, all the text you see here with the links. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be flipping over the next few minutes. I'm going to be flipping back and forth between the actual web page, so you actually get a look at where these links take you, just to give you a bit of a visual on what's going on there. So this first one is current students. Okay, so I'm just going to change the share and move it across over to my browser. So here is the current student page, and just Carolyn, confirm you can see that for me if you would.
I can, yes.
Yeah, okay, good. And this just has a few of the useful links and a bit of information. You can go to My BCIT, Learning Hub. Learning Hub is where you'll get all your course material. You can go to the library. So there's one starting point. I'm going to go back to my presentation for a sec and just move on to the next slide. My BCIT. So My BCIT is a good starting point for you when you're checking BCIT email. This is where you'll get your grades. If you want to, if you were in part-time studies, you could register for part-time courses through that tool. And faculty will send you emails through that account, that kind of thing. You can also set up mail forwarding when you go look at the email, so that you can have it sent to your personal email. And I highly recommend you do that. You're going to want to do that in Learning Hub as well. In the web page here, I'll just give you a quick look at what that looks like. So bear with me a second. So when you go to that link that I had in my presentation, you'll get to this login page. And then once you're logged in, this is what it looks like. So you get all this, you know, it's a lot of information. I probably have more since I work at BCIT, but here's where you get your email. You can click on this link over here for your email and calendar. Mind you, that calendar will not be correct for your courses. I'm going to show you a different link for your schedule because we're online this fall. We've built this different scheduling tool I'm going to show you. You can look at your courses, you know, these different links, student resources as well. There's all kinds of other information in here. To set up email forwarding, you actually go into your email and there's some options in there you can change. So just a brief look at My BCIT. And I'm going to take you back to the presentation for a moment here so we can carry on. Okay, next is student schedules. So let's go have a look at that. I'm going to show you a web page that we've created for that purpose and how to access your schedule. So once you click on that link, you're going to get this web page here, BCIT timetables for business. There's other ones available as well, but hey, you folks are all in business, so this is what you're getting. You're going to want to start by clicking on Fall 2020, and so it'll change to just that. Just highlighted that section. Next is you want to pick your program. So in order to pick your program, though, you need to know which code is your program. So I'm going to pick one of mine because I know it. OPMT is the Business Operations Management Program. So if any of you folks are in that program, you're going to click on this link. And then you're going to need to know what set you're in. So OPMT 1A, if you're in set 1A, or if you were in second year, you'd click 3A, but you're in either 1A or B if you're in first year. Click on that link and your schedule is going to pop up, and here it is. So this is showing week 1, which starts Tuesday, September 8th. And this is the classes you have for that week. Now, I should note that this is a draft timetable. The timetablers in all the programs are not finished with the timetables. So this is draft and really becomes official just before start of class. So I can't tell you if it's going to be any sooner than that. That's a possibility, but probably the week before classes start is when this will be final. The expectation is that we're going to have regular classes on this first week. There wouldn't be any orientation. There would be orientation the previous week. So your program areas will be reaching out to you about that. But to carry on with the information here, so if you're in this program, here's your courses, here's your instructor names in your courses, the time it runs. So this course at COM 098 is running from 8:30 to 9:20. The instructor is James Peterson, and so forth with all the other ones. You're in this program, your program head is Richard Verdella. He's teaching Intro to Opman, OPMT 1103. And if we wanted to see Richard's schedule, we could click on this link. So when you see the name, instructor name with the underline, you can click on it. And now it will take you to the instructor's schedule. And Richard does not yet have his office hours scheduled in here. It's just too early for that. But you would see blocks of time set for office hours in which Richard is available to speak with students in that course. And there's his contact information, for example. I'll just go back and take you back to the schedule. So that's how you're going to access your schedule. That's all I'm going to show you at this point on that one. And we'll just go back over to the main presentation now. Okay. Next, IT services. I want to show you a key page that you're going to want to bookmark, and that's this one. So if you're having computer problems at all, you're going to want to go over here and call upon your friends at IT services to help you with those. And so if you look at this web page down here, it says for students, you can do password reset, access share file information, or software licensing. And we'll look at a couple of those things in a few moments. I should note that all the systems that you log into, when you're asked for a login ID, you're going to use your student ID, which is an A number. And that's the number you always sign in with. And your password is the same in all the applications that you're logging into, as well as web pages. So it's nice and easy that way with one simple login. Okay, going to go back to our presentation for a moment. There's also a knowledge base. So if you need help figuring out how to do things technology-wise, you can go to this knowledge base link and get some help from our folks in IT online. There's all kinds of articles that are available on that web page, and I'll just show you briefly what that looks like. So here's the knowledge base. You can search on share file, for example. And here we go. There's the info on share file. So there's all kinds of information available to you that way through that link. Back to the presentation. Okay, next, IT Services Technology Desk. So this is another area that you want to have access to, and I'll share that again. So this has their hours of operation down at the bottom, something very important to know. And it changes in the winter, I think. No, actually, it's the same through May, pardon me. I'm thinking of summer that we're currently in. May through August, it's a little bit different. And you can access the knowledge base. There's a self-serve portal. You can email them. You can phone them. The number is all here, and get help. Okay. All right, back to our presentation. Okay. There's a how to log in web page where it's a one-stop web page where you can access your main logins. So I'm going to show you that. This is a handy link that you may find helpful from time to time. Again, you can bookmark these once you access the document tomorrow. So if you want to go to my BCIT, here it is. Computer lab workstations. We don't need to worry about that right now because you're not using computer labs, you're using your own. Technology service desk, share file, and the Learning Hub. So again, more information for you. Okay, accessing software. So here's where we're going to go look at how to access Microsoft Office 365 and other software. So let me just get ready for that. This link takes you to a web page, which we're going to go to now. So here is that web page, Software Access with IT Services. And it lists Adobe at the top, Microsoft Azure, and Office 365 and ShareFile. You need to click on this link to manage your software. In other words, download any of the software. You're going to click on that link, enter your credentials to log in, and then go to the appropriate place where you want to access the software. It's pretty much all on your own. You shouldn't need any help. If you need help, you go to these articles here. There's the various links so that you can look at the detailed instructions. Okay, and that's how you access Microsoft Office 365, ShareFile, and other applications. You may have access to other applications. For example, in my program area, I know that Microsoft Project is available for download through Azure, so that's something you can do, or you'll be using that on Citrix Workspace, one of those. All depends on what your instructor wants you to use, and they will specify. Okay, next up is ShareFile. So again, this link clicks you to the ShareFile web page where all that information is. I showed you that earlier, so I'm just going to skip over to the next slide. This resource, the Learning and Teaching Center, has student resources. I'm going to show you that one next. And this you may find helpful for a few different things. I'll just get switched over and then I can talk about it. So they have support links in here. They do reference IT, which I have given you already, but there's this Education Technology Services. I'm going to go to that web page right after this one, but there's also AV services, where if you need equipment for your presentation, they have projectors, laptops, presentation remotes, etc. Now that's normally when you're in class and in person. So I'm highlighting that for you to keep in mind when you get back to class, hopefully in January. Okay, I'll just go to the next page here. This is the Educational Technology Support page. So when you get into the Learning Hub and you're starting to learn how to use the virtual classroom, because your instructors will be running like a live lecture or maybe a recorded lecture, but you would access it through virtual classroom. If you need support on how do I do this or that, here's some areas that can give you some online knowledge-based type support information. So that's available to you as well. So we just looked at that one. So there's the link to it as well. Citrix Workspace. So Citrix Workspace is going to give you access to certain software applications that where the software would be run on a server, but you're accessing it through your device at home. And this is the web page that you would go to. This talks about it, gives you a link to it, and I'm going to show you what it kind of looks like. Mine might be a little different than yours or look a little different. I really don't have any applications on my desktop, but I'll just show you what it looks like. But there's all kinds of information in here about it. You will need to use it, so recommend you get set up near the end of August, and your instructor will make it clear to you what you you will need to access through Citrix Workspace. So you just saw me log in. Here's my name. Here's the virtual staff desktop. Other applications like MS Projects 2016 or Read and Write are available over here. And I may access other desktops as well. There's a demo desktop. I don't know if you're going to see that or not, but a virtual staff desktop. Your instructor will give you instructions, so you'll know what to expect, but at least you know where to get started. And make sure you have access. That's my point today. Okay, we're getting near the end here. So that's it. Questions and answers, but I don't want you to leave yet because Carolyn will have a few words at the end. But if you have any additional questions, now would be a good time. Okay, I see a question. What about the Bitman program? So I'm not sure what you're asking. How do you, okay, so maybe you can add some clarity to that question. How do you find your program code? So your, I believe you're going to receive that when you, the Institute will be sending you probably an email is the way it's going to come. It may be through my BCIT, where it'll identify what set you're in. So the set number actually gives you your program code. So the example I was walking you through was for the Business Operations Management program. And the program code is OPMT. And the set was either 1A or 1B. So you're going to get one like that, like Bitman is ITMG, 1A or 1B. And depending on the other programs, the codes are a little bit different, but all of that will be in a communication from the Institute. Are there any other questions? Just going to check the chat. Question, hello, is business operations management based more on business or technology? How can I prepare for my first year this summer? You know, it's a mix of business and technology is I think the best thing I can say about that program. And how can you prepare for it? Make sure that your math is up to speed. So if you haven't done the math assessment, I highly recommend you do that. And if you need some additional practice, there's a free course you can take to hone your skills in math, because there is math throughout that program and many others. You know, we're not just asking you to do that for fun. It's about helping you and all the other students in business prepare for their programs. Can you go over again what the issues Mac users may have? What I'm thinking about on the Mac users is if you're going to run Windows on your Mac device, you need another piece of software like Parallels. I think it's about 150 bucks. I just upgraded mine a few months ago. You may have, you'll notice some differences in between, if you're, like I'm primarily a PC user for many years. And when you use PC-based software on a Mac, like through Parallels, so like if you're using Microsoft Office 365 running Windows on a Mac through Parallels, you're going to find some keyboard differences, and they're minor, but they slow you down. That's one thing I've noticed. You could have technology issues, right? You've added another piece of software to that device in between your Mac and Windows. So it's another opportunity for failure, but I found at home it's pretty reliable, but you do have challenges from time to time. Those are the main things I think of when I think about Mac users, but I believe in the program areas where they're using Macs specifically with applications installed on the Mac OS, I don't think that's an issue. you know, because I know there's software used in digital design and other areas in there, in broadcast as well, where the applications are installed directly on the Mac OS. So I don't think there's issues related to Windows there. You may find the version of Office, if you're using a version of Microsoft Office installed on a Mac, you may see some differences between that and the Windows version. Not sure if there's any compatibility related issues, but just having menu differences can be a challenge. So if you're looking for your instructor to help you figure out how to do a certain thing in Excel, using the Mac version of Excel, he may have trouble, or she may have trouble finding that specific area, because the menus are slightly different as well, I believe. It's been a while since I've looked at that version. I hope that answers your question. Next, in the web page for the courses schedule, I couldn't find my program, which is Bitman. I'm not sure which course schedule you mean. So if you're talking about the class schedule that I was demonstrating, you want to find the course code or the program code ITMG, and that should solve your problem. So ITMG 1A or 1B, if you look at those, that should solve your problem. If that doesn't answer your question, please put it up again. How much of a difference will there be between an i5 and an i7? Is it noticeable? I'm not sure. If it was me and I could afford it, I'd buy the i7. Just because you're going to get a little more life out of that machine, you know, as software updates are done by the various software companies. You know, they always build them bigger, so they use more resources. So that's my recommendation. You may not notice much difference in some applications, and others, if they're really intense with the use of the CPU. Like if you're using, for example, Excel with a lot of analytics, and there's a large number of calculations, you probably want an i7. Pardon me. Does BCIT have photocopy and scan service available in the library? So I'm not sure. I recommend you go to the library page and see if that is available in there. And right now with COVID, I don't know if it would even be accessible. So I think you should contact the library directly on that question. I am not aware of other services available, like in our normal School of Business building, that kind of thing. Are there any specific softwares that are used by instructors which only run on Windows? Yeah, the one I mentioned, Microsoft Project, but you can download that through the Microsoft Azure. I'm pretty sure, I just looked at that a month ago, so I'm pretty sure that's going to be available to you in September. But it would also be available through the Citrix Workspace. So don't go buy it, right? I would hold off buying any software right now until September, until you have a clear information from your instructor on what software will be used. Okay, next. I have a MacBook Pro, and I was wondering if it's possible to use Mac OS instead of Windows to work on my assignment. I don't know that I can answer that question. You know, it depends. Like if your instructor asks you to provide your assignment in a Word doc, and if you have MS Word on your MacBook Pro, then I presume that would be acceptable. So I think that would be acceptable, but you really need to check in your program area. So maybe maybe an email to your program head. Question, is now a good time to buy a new hardware device now? In what sense? Like July or August? You know, we're a month away, month and a half away from your program starting. I think the sooner the better, so that you can get used to that device and know where everything is, get your software installed at the end of August so you can be ready to go when the program starts. John has a question. Can I use desktop? Can you use a desktop computer? Sure, while you're at home, but the expectation is that you're going to bring your device when classes resume in person. So if we're back in class in January, you're really going to need a laptop, because I don't think you want to cart a desktop computer in. How much should a laptop weigh? How much should laptop weight matter, since we'll be carrying it around often? Should I compromise screen size for weight? Yeah, you know, I carry a lot when I'm working in the office. I carry my laptop home and to the office every day, but I don't cart it around the campus too often, other than from meeting to meeting. I think the heavier it is, you're going to find it's going to be a problem for you. Your shoulder's going to get sore. When I was teaching, I was certainly going from classroom to classroom across the entire Burnaby campus, and it does weigh on you. So I think you're going to notice it after a while. If you can go lighter, I would.
Maybe this is where, Phil, I was thinking when you, in your specs, when you recommend a screen, a second screen, maybe that's where a second screen would be useful with a smaller laptop.
Absolutely.
At home.
Yeah. Yeah, like at least a 22-inch minimum is my recommendation on a second screen.
Yeah.
And so if you know, I know some people might be challenged with eyesight, and a bigger screen would be helpful. So that would be a good way to go. But if you have that challenge and you're now thinking, well, maybe I want a 15 or a 17-inch laptop, and because of the sight, then perhaps you do want to get the bigger screen. Yeah. And well, you know, I know weight's an issue, right? So you can always get a bag that has wheels. That's another way to go too. Lots of people use that. So
yeah, or a backpack. A backpack definitely helps more so than a lanyard. Or
exactly.
Like, yeah. Well, very good questions. Thank you, Phil. Oh, I think you may have had one that came up. Maybe we'll answer that last one, and then we'll kind of wrap it up.
Is that the one? Can you explain Citrix Workspace again? How will it be used? Is the system working for like ShareFile? So Citrix Workspace is, what it really does is it allows you to access software that's hosted on a server at BCIT. So your computer at home is really kind of acting, think of it like a terminal. You know, it's your computer is not processing the data. The data is not transferring back and forth between your computer and BCIT. It's simply displaying the application on your computer, and all the hard work is done on the server at BCIT. That's the way that works. So that's really all that's about, and that's because we wouldn't want you to go out and buy a license for a piece of software that's, you know, $300 or $500 or more, right? It's so you can access the software we have at BCIT. Ken asks, we can find all information here? Yep, that's right. That's the web page. And so look, tomorrow we'll have a document that shares all the information I talked about today. Will be in a PDF. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, I think that's it.
Yeah, well, good job at answering all these questions. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm just going to do a quick little wrap up here. Thank you, Phil. I think that was super useful, definitely helpful to start thinking about. And boy, when you said when the person asks when should I buy, and you're like, well, we're almost mid-July and school starts like in August, well, beginning of September. It's definitely coming up really fast. So thank you again for all the time. If we were in person, I would give you a little gift to say thank you for presenting. So there's no gift, but you know.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Guys, I'm going to put just want to talk about a few housekeeping things before we go, and I'm trying to put those in the chat. Remember to check out new student checklist at our BCIT business welcome page. The link is in your chat. Remember to complete your math assessment by clicking on the link provided on the welcome page. Again, it's right there. Although Phil, maybe, do you have the link to the math assessment?
I will have it in the document.
Okay, perfect. Sounds
Yep.
good. And as well, between August 31st and September 2nd, and you'll get emails around that, we will expect you to complete a communication English screening test. And this communication test, well, it's not really a test, you don't get a grade. It's just for us to know where the English level is at, to be able to support you better in your communication skills. So you'll get news from us when the time is to do that. I think that one takes about 30 minutes. How long does the math test take, Phil?
I think it's about 25 minutes.
Yeah, so quite quickly. And again, these are all tools that we like you to complete to help us help you be successful. Next week, we have our session number 3 at 8. It will be the online learning environment best practices. We're going to talk about how you're going to learn in September, how this is all going to work. David Tikinen is going to be he's an instructor in marketing management, so he's going to be our facilitator for that. So get a detailed tour of the Learning Hub, which is our site where you're going to be learning, where all your courses are going to be on. So get a guided tour of the Learning Hub, the online platform that we use, learn practical tips and best practices for online learning to set yourself up for a successful term. So we look forward to seeing you next week. Phil, any last words of wisdom before we let the group go?
Prepare. So
yeah.
Sooner you can get ready, the better. And make sure you stay ahead of your schedule as you work through the program, because our programs are quite busy. It's a heavy workload. That's my recommendation.
Yes. And we're super excited to see to start the term in 6 or 7 weeks. So it's really exciting. So thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next week.